chosen one. Before you dismiss this moment, stop for just a minute and listen with your heart. What you're about to hear isn't meant to stir fear. It is meant to replace it with peace. There comes a time when God changes the direction of a person's life so completely that nothing can ever remain the same again. This could be that moment for you. You've carried burdens that were never yours to carry. You've spent countless days worrying about tomorrow, wondering how everything would work out, chasing security, and believing that your future depended entirely on your own strength. But God wants to speak to you today with a different message. He's saying it's time to put down the weight you've been carrying. From this moment forward, stop living as though everything depends on you. Let me carry what has been exhausting your soul. This isn't an invitation to become careless. It's an invitation to trust. And if you're willing to receive that truth today, type Amen in the comments if you're ready to let God carry what you've been trying to carry alone. Stay with me until the end of this message, because what God is about to reveal could completely change the way you see your future. For so long, you've believed that survival depended on constant striving. You were taught that if you didn't push harder, worry more, or chase every opportunity, everything would fall apart. Maybe you've measured your worth by how much you produced. Maybe you've believed that your value was tied to your performance. Maybe you felt that if you stopped fighting for a moment, you'd lose everything. But God is rewriting that story. He isn't asking you to abandon responsibility. He's asking you to let go of fear. There's a difference. Responsibility builds with wisdom. Fear builds with panic. And God never intended fear to become the force that directs your life. The season ahead won't be built on desperation. It won't be sustained by anxiety. It won't depend on endless striving. Instead, God is inviting you into a life where peace becomes stronger than pressure. Before we continue, if this message is already speaking to your heart, take a moment to like this video. It helps these messages reach someone else who may desperately need this same encouragement today. Now hear this carefully. When God tells you to stop chasing what you've always depended on, He isn't telling you to stop living with purpose. He's calling you to stop making fear your master. Too many people spend their lives knocking on doors God never intended them to enter. They exhaust themselves trying to force opportunities that were never meant for them. Then they wonder why nothing seems to last. But every closed door, every delayed answer, every unexpected disappointment may have been God's protection all along. He wasn't rejecting you. He was redirecting you. He was keeping you away from places that would have drained your spirit, limited your growth, and pulled you away from the purpose He designed specifically for you. Looking back, you'll begin to realize that some of your greatest disappointments became your greatest protection. God was leading you somewhere better. That's why you must stop interpreting every delay as failure. Sometimes what feels like waiting is actually preparation. Sometimes what feels like loss is simply God clearing the path for something greater. The future He's preparing doesn't require panic. It requires trust, and that changes everything. God also wants you to understand something many people never fully grasp. True abundance isn't measured only by money. Financial provision certainly matters. God knows your needs. He cares about every bill, every responsibility, and every concern you've carried. But His provision reaches far beyond your bank account. He's preparing relationships, divine connections, unexpected opportunities, fresh ideas, creative solutions, doors you never imagined opening. Provision often arrives through places you never expected. That's why holding too tightly to your own plans can cause you to overlook what God is already arranging. There is a beautiful flow that begins when you finally surrender control. At first, the change may seem almost invisible. Nothing dramatic, nothing loud, but little by little, peace replaces pressure. Clarity replaces confusion. Confidence replaces fear. You stop forcing outcomes, and instead you begin recognizing God's hand already moving ahead of you. People begin noticing gifts you've always carried, conversations begin opening naturally, opportunities start finding you instead of you constantly chasing them. Why? Because God isn't simply changing your circumstances, He's changing your direction. There has always been something unique inside you, a gift, a calling. a purpose that no one else can fulfill exactly the way you can. But fear kept your attention fixed on survival. You became so busy trying to make it through another day that you barely had room to discover what God placed within you. Now He's shifting your focus. He's moving you from merely surviving to living with purpose. He's leading you toward a place where the gifts He planted inside you become part of the way He provides for you. That transition may feel uncomfortable. It may even seem uncertain at times. There will be moments when you'll feel tempted to run back to what's familiar simply because it's predictable. But don't mistake familiarity for safety. The very things that once felt secure may have been the very things draining your joy. God is building something stronger, something lasting, something rooted in His guidance instead of your fear. You're not walking through this transition alone. Every step is being directed, even the ones you don't yet understand. Every delay you've experienced has been preparing your heart to trust at a deeper level. You first had to learn endurance before you could appreciate peace. You first had to experience waiting before you could recognize true abundance. Now God is asking you to release an old way of thinking. Stop believing your life is measured only by how hard you struggle. Stop assuming that constant pressure is proof you're moving forward. There is another way, a better way. A life built on relationship with God rather than endless anxiety. As you continue walking with Him, you'll begin noticing quiet confirmations along the way. Small moments that seem too perfectly timed to be accidental. Unexpected encouragement. Conversations that answer prayers you never spoke aloud. Opportunities appearing exactly when you needed them most. Don't ignore those moments. They're reminders that God is far more involved in your life than you realize. You weren't chosen because you've done everything perfectly. You were chosen because your heart is willing to trust Him. This journey isn't about proving yourself worthy. It's about allowing God to work through a willing heart. When you stop trying to control every detail, you create room for God to do what only He can do. So don't rush ahead. Don't allow your mind to race toward tomorrow. Remain present. Let these truths settle deep within your spirit. Because what God is beginning in your life isn't temporary. He's laying a new foundation. One built on peace instead of panic, on trust instead of fear, on purpose instead of survival. And that foundation will carry you faithfully into everything He has prepared next. As this new foundation begins taking root, you'll notice something changing inside you long before you see it around you. The fear that once controlled your decisions will slowly lose its grip. The pressure that used to wake you up in the middle of the night will begin to fade. Instead of constantly asking, "What if everything goes wrong?" you'll begin asking, "Lord, where are you leading me next?" That's the difference trust makes. God isn't only changing your circumstances, He's changing the way you see them. There will still be moments when old thoughts try to return. Fear has a habit of knocking on the door long after you've decided to move forward. It may whisper that you need to panic. It may convince you to chase every opportunity just to feel secure again. It may try to pull you back into the exhausting cycle you've known for so long. But don't mistake those thoughts for God's voice. They're only echoes from a season you're leaving behind. Fear always demands immediate answers. God invites patient trust. Fear tells you everything depends on you. God reminds you that He's already gone ahead of you. When those anxious thoughts begin to rise, don't argue with them. Simply return to God's presence. Listen for His peace. His guidance rarely comes through panic. It comes through quiet confidence. Sometimes you'll feel an unexplainable peace about a decision that doesn't seem logical to everyone else. Other times, you'll sense a gentle hesitation even when something appears attractive on the surface. Learn to recognize those moments. God often leads through peace before He reveals the entire picture. That quiet assurance is far more dependable than the anxiety that once directed your life. You were never created to spend every day fighting just to survive. God formed you with intention. He placed purpose inside you before you ever faced your first challenge. The world may have taught you to compare yourself with everyone around you. It may have convinced you that your value depends on outperforming others. But God is inviting you out of that exhausting race. You don't have to compete for a place He's already prepared. You don't have to beg for opportunities He has already planned. You don't have to prove your worth to the one who created you. Instead, He's calling you into a different kind of rest. Not the kind that avoids responsibility, but the kind that removes unnecessary fear. You'll still take action. You'll still work faithfully. You'll still pursue the opportunities God places before you. But your motivation will no longer come from desperation. It will come from confidence. You'll move because you're guided, not because you're afraid. That's a life-changing difference. Something remarkable begins happening when you stop chasing everything and start receiving what God is already providing. Your heart becomes lighter. Your thoughts become clearer. You notice possibilities that fear once blinded you to. Fresh ideas begin forming naturally. Creative solutions appear without endless striving. Meaningful relationships develop without manipulation. The right people begin recognizing what God has already placed inside you. You may wonder how life could ever become so different. That's understandable, because God isn't repeating the patterns that kept you exhausted. He's teaching you a completely different rhythm. A rhythm built on trust instead of pressure. A rhythm where you aren't endlessly searching for the next answer. Instead, you're learning to position yourself where God's provision can meet you. That's where true abundance begins. And yes, God's provision includes your practical needs. He knows every financial concern you've carried. He understands every burden you've quietly to yourself. He's not asking you to ignore those realities. He's inviting you to see them through the eyes of faith instead of fear. There will be moments when blessings arrive in unexpected ways. Opportunities may appear that you never planned for. Resources may come through people you never expected to meet. Doors may open without the exhausting struggle you've become accustomed to. But while those blessings unfold, guard your heart. Don't allow doubt to quietly take root. Some of God's greatest works begin long before they're visible. Sometimes transformation starts inside your spirit before it changes your circumstances. Sometimes He's strengthening your faith before revealing the breakthrough you've been praying for. Don't become discouraged if everything doesn't change overnight. God is always working beneath the surface. Even when your eyes can't yet see it, you're learning a new kind of confidence. Not confidence built on having every answer, but confidence rooted in knowing you're never walking alone. God is guiding every step, every decision, every conversation, every opportunity. He isn't waiting at the finish line. He's walking beside you through every stage of the journey. Never underestimate what He's doing right now. Even the smallest changes matter. Even the quiet victories are significant. Because God isn't building something temporary. He's establishing a foundation that will support everything He has planned for your future. This transformation isn't meant to last for a few days. It's preparing you for an entirely different way of living. Don't be surprised if some people misunderstand the change they see in you. They may question why you're no longer controlled by fear. They may wonder why you remain peaceful while others panic. Some may even think you've become less ambitious simply because you've become more at peace. You don't have to explain everything. Not everyone will understand what God is doing inside your heart. And that's okay. This journey is deeply personal. It isn't built on other people's approval. It's built on your relationship with God. So remain connected to the peace He's placing within you. That peace is more than a feeling. It's confirmation, it's direction, it's evidence that you're learning to hear His voice more clearly. Whenever fear tries pulling you backward, return to that quiet place. That's where God speaks most clearly. Never believe you're falling behind. You're exactly where God needs you to be. Every delay you've experienced has been preparing the timing for something greater. Every closed door has been guiding you toward the right one. Nothing has been wasted. Nothing has been meaningless. Everything has been working together to bring you into this season. So release the need to control every outcome. Stop carrying tomorrow before it arrives. Trust that God has already stepped into every tomorrow you'll ever face. Your responsibility isn't to force the future into existence. Your responsibility is to remain close to Him. The closer you walk with Him, the clearer your path becomes. As you continue walking this way, you'll begin noticing more than changes around you. You'll notice changes within you. You'll think differently. You'll respond differently. You'll carry yourself differently. The weight you've carried for years will begin lifting. Your mind will become quieter. Your heart will become steadier. Your confidence will no longer depend on circumstances. It will rest in the simple truth that God is faithful. And that's the beginning of a life no longer driven by struggle, but sustained by trust. As you continue walking this path with God, something beautiful begins to happen. The person you once were slowly gives way to the person He has always been preparing you to become. The fear that once dictated your choices loses its influence. The pressure to constantly prove yourself begins to disappear, and in its place grows a quiet confidence that cannot be manufactured by circumstances. Understand this clearly. God isn't taking away your purpose. He's revealing it. You were never created simply to spend your life searching for security. You were created to carry something meaningful into the lives of others. The gifts He placed inside you were never accidents. Your compassion, your creativity, your wisdom, your experiences, even the pain you've endured. Every part of it has been shaping you for the purpose He designed before you were even aware of it. Now He's bringing those pieces together. Instead of living from fear, you'll begin living from calling. And when your life flows from purpose instead of panic, everything changes. Your work carries greater meaning. Your decisions become clearer. Your relationships become healthier. Even the smallest steps begin producing greater results, because they're no longer driven by anxiety, but by alignment with God's will. As you move forward, don't ignore the ideas that begin rising within your heart. Some of them may seem simple, some may appear too small to matter. You might even wonder whether they're worth pursuing. But don't dismiss what God places inside you. Great things often begin as quiet impressions. A simple thought, a small opportunity, an unexpected conversation, a gentle nudge to try something you've never considered before. God often plants the future as a seed long before it becomes visible as a harvest. Your responsibility isn't to understand every detail. Your responsibility is simply to remain willing. As you nurture those ideas with faith instead of doubt, you'll watch them grow beyond what you imagined possible. Remember this as well. God's provision won't always arrive the way you expect it to. Sometimes you'll pray for one answer and He'll provide another. Sometimes the blessing you've been asking for will come through a door you never considered opening. Sometimes the opportunity you've been waiting for will look unfamiliar at first. Don't reject something simply because it doesn't match your original plan. God sees the entire picture. He knows what will truly strengthen you. He knows what will last. Trust Him even when His methods surprise you. Very often, the answer you've been praying for arrives wearing clothes you weren't expecting. As you continue walking with Him, you'll begin noticing a new rhythm developing in your life. You'll no longer feel like you're fighting every step forward. Instead of constantly pushing against resistance, you'll discover moments where everything simply begins to align. Doors open naturally. Conversations unfold at the right time. Opportunities appear without endless striving. Progress becomes steady instead of exhausting. That doesn't mean challenges disappear. Life will still test your patience. There will still be seasons that stretch your faith, but you'll face those moments differently, because you won't be facing them alone. God will be strengthening you from within, guiding every decision, providing wisdom when you need it most, reminding you again and again that His presence is greater than every obstacle standing before you. Take a moment and think about everything you've already survived, every disappointment, every setback, every unanswered prayer, every difficult season. At the time, you may have wondered why God allowed those moments. Now you're beginning to understand. None of them were wasted. Every challenge built endurance. Every delay strengthened your patience. Every hardship taught you dependence on God instead of dependence on circumstances. Those lessons are becoming the very foundation that will support the next chapter of your life. Don't rush what God is building. The strongest foundations are never laid overnight. When we try forcing growth before its time, we create unnecessary pressure. But when we trust God's timing, everything develops with stability. His timing is part of His provision, and what He gives in the right season brings peace instead of chaos. You may also notice your priorities quietly changing. Things that once consumed your attention won't seem nearly as important anymore. The constant need to impress others begins fading. The pressure to compare yourself with everyone around you starts losing its power. Instead, your heart becomes drawn toward what truly matters: peace, purpose, faithfulness, relationships that encourage your growth, work that reflects your calling, a life that carries lasting significance rather than temporary approval. That's not losing ambition, that's gaining clarity. God is realigning your heart with what has eternal value. You'll also begin seeing how He works through people. Some conversations will unexpectedly open new doors. Some friendships will encourage you exactly when you need strength. Certain relationships will challenge you to grow into the person God is calling you to become. These encounters aren't random. They're part of His provision. Receive them with gratitude. But never confuse the channel with the source. People may become part of God's provision, but God alone remains your provider. Keeping that truth in your heart protects you from disappointment, because even when circumstances change, even when people come and go, your foundation remains secure. There's something else God wants to free you from: the belief that your worth depends on always being busy. For years, you may have believed that resting meant falling behind, that slowing down meant becoming less valuable, that constant activity somehow proved your importance. But your value has never been determined by how exhausted you are. Your worth was established the moment God created you. He isn't impressed by endless striving. He's inviting you into faithful obedience. Sometimes the most productive thing you can do is simply remain still long enough to hear His voice. Don't mistake stillness for inactivity. Some of God's greatest work happens where no one else can see it. Preparation, healing, growth, alignment. Even when nothing appears to be changing on the outside, heaven may be moving powerfully behind the scenes. Trust that hidden work. It's preparing visible results. As you continue trusting God, clarity will steadily increase. Decisions that once felt overwhelming will become simpler. Questions that once kept you awake at night will begin finding peaceful answers. You'll recognize patterns you couldn't see before. You'll begin understanding God's timing in ways that once seemed impossible. And with every step, your confidence will quietly grow. Not confidence rooted in pride, but confidence rooted in knowing you're walking with God. You'll notice yourself responding differently, thinking differently, speaking differently. The transformation happening inside you will naturally begin changing everything around you. This is what happens when your life becomes fully aligned with the one who created you. Don't spend time regretting your past. Everything you've experienced has prepared you for this moment. Nothing was meaningless. Nothing was beyond God's ability to redeem. Every lesson, every failure, every victory, every delay has become part of the wisdom you now carry. You're not beginning the season empty-handed. You're stepping into it stronger, wiser, more faithful, more prepared than you've ever been before. And as you continue moving forward, never forget this truth. You are no longer trying to build your future by yourself. God is walking beside you. He's opening doors. He's providing what you need. He is guiding every step. Your responsibility is beautifully simple. Trust Him, listen for His voice, and faithfully follow where He leads. For so long, you believed you had to earn your place in the world. You felt like you were always trying to catch up, always trying to prove yourself, always trying to become enough. But God is gently removing that burden from your shoulders. You were never created to spend your life chasing acceptance. You were created to walk confidently in the place He had already prepared for you. When that truth finally settles into your heart, everything begins to change. You stop measuring your progress against everyone else's. You stop believing you're behind simply because someone else appears to be ahead. You stop allowing comparison to steal the peace God has been building within you, because you realize something beautiful. God isn't writing your story according to someone else's timeline. Your journey has always been uniquely yours, and every chapter has been unfolding exactly when it needed to. There were seasons when you felt unnoticed, moments when you questioned your worth, times when you wondered if God had forgotten about you. But none of those feelings changed the truth. You have always been valuable. You have always been deeply loved. You have always been guided, even when the path ahead seemed impossible to understand. Looking back, you'll eventually recognize that every delay, every unexpected turn, and every closed door was quietly shaping the person you're becoming today. Nothing in your life has been random. Nothing has been wasted. Even the chapters you wish you could erase have become part of the wisdom you now carry. So release the pressure you've been living under. You don't have to solve your entire future today. You don't need every answer before taking your next step. God has never asked you to understand everything. He simply asked you to trust Him. And every time you choose trust over fear, you make room for Him to work in ways you never could on your own. There's another truth He wants you to understand. Real abundance isn't something you chase. It's something you learn to walk in. When your heart stays aligned with God, your life naturally begins moving toward what He has already prepared. His blessings aren't built on panic. They aren't driven by hurry. They don't grow from fear. They grow from faithful obedience. Little by little, you'll notice your thinking changing. The worries that once consumed your mind won't carry the same weight anymore. The constant pressure you've lived with will slowly give way to peace. Confusion will begin making room for clarity, not because life suddenly becomes perfect, but because your confidence is no longer rooted in circumstances. It's rooted in God's faithfulness. That's what transforms your mind. That's what changes your heart. That's what gives you peace even before every prayer has been answered. If this message has encouraged you so far, let me know in the comments what area of your life you're choosing to trust God with today. Your words could become the encouragement someone else has been praying to hear. There's also a quiet strength growing inside you. You may not fully recognize it yet. It isn't loud. It isn't built on pride. It doesn't need constant approval. It's steady, calm, unshakable. That strength isn't coming from everything you've accomplished. It's coming from your growing relationship with God. As you continue trusting Him, you'll begin seeing the fruit of that trust. Not all at once, but one step at a time. Small victories, unexpected opportunities, quiet breakthroughs. Gradually, what once seemed impossible will begin feeling completely natural. The things that once felt far away will begin moving closer. Don't rush this process. Healthy growth always takes time. Anything built too quickly often lacks the foundation needed to last. But what God is building in your life is different. It's stable. It's lasting. It's designed to support you for years to come. This isn't temporary success, it's lasting provision. That doesn't mean moments of doubt will never return. Sometimes old fears will quietly try to find their way back into your thoughts. When that happens, pause. Take a deep breath. Then remember everything God has already carried you through. Think about every season you believed you wouldn't survive. Every challenge that once looked impossible. Every prayer He answered in ways you couldn't have imagined. Look how far you've already come. You're no longer the same person you used to be. You've grown, you've matured, you've learned to trust in ways you never thought possible. And that growth is preparing you for everything still ahead. The version of you that once believed everything depended on your own strength is slowly disappearing. In its place is someone learning to rest in God's presence. That kind of rest isn't weakness. It's confidence. It means you've stopped trying to control every outcome. It means you've begun trusting the one who already sees the end from the beginning. And when God leads, the path becomes clearer. Your decisions become steadier. Your heart becomes lighter. There's another freedom waiting for you. The freedom to stop living according to expectations that were never yours to carry. You don't have to become who everyone else expects you to be. You don't have to fit into roles that leave your spirit empty. God is leading you into a life that's fully aligned with the person He created you to become. As that freedom grows, don't be surprised if hope begins returning to your heart. A quiet excitement, a peaceful anticipation, a gentle confidence that something good is on the horizon. That's not wishful thinking. That's hope being restored. Don't allow fear to replace it. Whenever anxious thoughts try to return, bring your attention back to what you know is true. God is leading you. God is providing for you. God is strengthening you. God has not abandoned you. There will still be moments when old habits try pulling you backward. Familiar ways of thinking may seem comfortable simply because you've lived with them for so long. But familiar doesn't always mean healthy. You aren't called back to the life that exhausted you. You aren't called back to constant worry. You aren't called back to endless striving. You're moving toward peace, toward stability, toward purpose. And that journey requires a different response. It requires trusting God even before every detail becomes clear. Transformation always includes a season where everything feels different, where the old no longer fits, yet the new hasn't fully appeared. If that's where you are today, don't panic. You're not lost. You're growing. God is teaching you to walk by faith instead of by fear. For years you tried carrying your future on your own shoulders. You planned every possibility. You worried about every outcome. You tried controlling what only God could truly control. Yet despite all that effort, some things always remained beyond your reach. That wasn't because you failed. It was because you were never meant to carry everything alone. So today, release that burden completely. Not halfway, not temporarily, completely. Lay it before God. Trust Him with the pieces you cannot fix. Trust Him with the answers you don't yet have. Trust Him with tomorrow. Because when you finally surrender what you've been desperately trying to control, you create room for God's peace to fill the space fear once occupied. And that peace will carry you farther than anxiety ever could. There's a peace that enters your life when you truly surrender everything to God. Not a passive peace that ignores reality, but a powerful peace that remains steady even when life feels uncertain. It's the kind of peace that allows you to keep moving forward without being controlled by fear. It reminds you that even when you cannot see the outcome, God already can. And because He sees what you cannot, you don't have to carry tomorrow before it arrives. As you continue walking in this new season, you'll begin noticing something remarkable. Your reactions will start to change. Situations that once overwhelmed you won't have the same power anymore. The circumstances that used to steal your sleep will no longer control your heart. Instead of responding with panic, you'll respond with peace. Instead of confusion, you'll begin walking in clarity. This isn't because you've suddenly become stronger on your own. It's because you've become more aligned with the one who has been guiding you all along. While you're faithfully taking one step at a time, God is already working ahead of you. He's preparing opportunities before you arrive. He's opening doors you cannot yet see. He's placing the right people along your path. He's arranging conversations that will influence your future. Most of this happens quietly, without announcements, without visible signs. But don't mistake silence for inactivity. Some of God's greatest work happens where human eyes cannot yet see. That's why your faith cannot depend only on visible evidence. If you wait until everything makes perfect sense before trusting God, you'll always be one step behind what He's already doing. Faith allows you to move forward while heaven is still arranging what comes next. As your understanding grows, you'll begin seeing provision differently. You'll stop believing it only comes through one source. Sometimes God provides through an unexpected opportunity. Sometimes through a conversation. Sometimes through a creative idea. Sometimes through someone He places in your life at exactly the right moment. But no matter how the blessing arrives, never forget where it truly comes from. People may become part of the blessing. Opportunities may become the pathway. But God remains the source. That truth will keep your heart steady, no matter how circumstances change. There is incredible freedom in living that way. You're no longer chained to systems that constantly drain your peace. You're no longer allowing your identity to be determined by titles, positions, or people's opinions. Your value isn't measured by what you accomplish. Your value comes from the one who created you. You are chosen. You are loved. You are guided. You are deeply cared for. And nothing can change that truth. Never believe you've been forgotten. Never believe you're behind. Even when life seems slower than you expected, God is still perfectly on time. Everything is unfolding according to His wisdom. There may still be moments when you're tempted to question the journey. You may wonder why certain prayers haven't been answered yet. You may question why some opportunities haven't appeared as quickly as you hoped. When those moments come, pause. Remember the peace you've already experienced. Remember the quiet confidence God has been building within you. That peace isn't an accident. It's confirmation. It's His gentle reminder that He's still leading every step. Don't replace that peace with worry. Protect it. Because God often speaks most clearly through the calm He places inside your heart. You're not being led into uncertainty. You're being led into deeper trust. And trust doesn't grow overnight. It grows one faithful decision at a time. Every time you choose peace instead of panic, your faith becomes stronger. Every time you refuse to let fear control your future, your confidence grows deeper. Every time you surrender another burden to God, you make room for His peace to fill your heart. Some blessings require preparation before they arrive. Some opportunities need time to develop. Some prayers are answered only after God has aligned every necessary detail. That's not delay, that's wisdom. When God's timing arrives, you'll recognize it. Nothing will feel forced, nothing will need to be manipulated. You'll simply know. His peace will confirm what your eyes are only beginning to see. That's why you don't need to rush ahead, and you don't need to fall back into old fears. Stay present, stay faithful. Continue trusting the God who has never abandoned you. He's already shaping your future in ways you cannot yet imagine. Every prayer you've whispered, every lesson you've learned, every difficult season you've survived has been preparing you for what's ahead. You aren't starting over. You're stepping forward with wisdom you didn't have before. You're moving with strength that was built through every challenge you've overcome. You're walking with a faith that has been tested and refined, and that faith will carry you farther than fear ever could. If this message has encouraged your heart today, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who may be carrying burdens they were never meant to carry alone. Sometimes a single message arrives at exactly the moment someone needs hope, and God may use you to place that encouragement in their path. Before you go, if you'd like to continue growing beyond today's message, you'll find a wonderful community through the link in the description. It's a place for deeper Bible studies, exclusive teachings, and genuine encouragement from believers walking this same journey together. And if this ministry has blessed your life and you ever feel led to help us continue reaching more hearts with God's Word, there's also a support link in the pinned comment. Your generosity is never expected, but it's always deeply appreciated because it allows these messages of hope to reach people around the world. As you leave today, carry this truth with you. You are no longer defined by fear. You are no longer driven by survival. You are no longer carrying tomorrow on your own shoulders. God is leading you. God is providing for you. God is preparing the path before you. Every step you take in faith is bringing you closer to everything He has already prepared. So don't look back. Don't allow fear to convince you that nothing is changing. Even when the work is invisible, God is still working. Even when the answers seem delayed, God is still faithful. Even when the path feels unfamiliar, God is still leading. Walk forward with confidence. Walk forward with peace. Walk forward knowing that the one who called you will also sustain you. He will open the right doors. He will provide exactly what you need. He will strengthen you when you grow tired, and He will never leave you to carry alone what He has already promised to hold. The season ahead is not defined by fear. It is defined by faith, not by striving, but by surrender, not by uncertainty, but by trust. Keep your eyes on Him, keep your heart open, keep taking the next faithful step. Because what God has been preparing in silence is closer than you think. And when it unfolds, you'll look back and realize that He was guiding you every moment of the journey. Stay faithful, stay encouraged, and never forget, the God who began this good work in you is faithful to complete it. Amen.